Yeah, I think there's a lot of focus, and I think guys came ready. As a team, you have a chip on the shoulder. A lot of guys have a chip on their shoulder. A lot of guys want to have a bounce back year here, and I think you can tell. A lot of guys are focused. Guys are working hard in camp, and I'm excited. I'm excited for the start of the season. But like I said, the guys are definitely focused.
Welcome to another episode of the Predators official podcast. It's so great to see everyone once again as we continue through training camp and the preseason. I'm Brooks Bratten of NashvillePredators.com. Pleased to be joined by my friends Max Hers from Preds Radio and Kara Hammer from Preds TV. And boy, do we have a jam-packed show for you. As we said, training camp continues. The preseason's underway. The Preds sweep a doubleheader against Florida, fall in a shootout against Tampa, but there's plenty of good that has come so far. Also, our first guest, an interview with none other than the Preds Captain Roman Josi coming up, Pete Weber and Terry Crisp, the next inductees of the Predators Golden Hall, and of course, our Biggie Awesome Person of the Week. Friends, we got a lot to get to. Max, Kara, how are we feeling?
I'm feeling good. I feel like we're going to have to play this clip later in the show, but when I saw Ryan O'Reilly's impression of Jonathan Marchessault earlier in the week, I feel like that just set the standard for how great this week was going to go.
Well, we've had some fun in preseason so far, and it's been good to see a lot of the young Preds make big impressions, seeing some mostly NHL lineups on the ice for 3 home games this week. So it's been amazing to be back in Smashville with tons of fans, and it just feels right to be going again. So let's talk about it.
No, that's a good call, Max. It's been really good to be back at home and to see a lot of people come out to the games. And there's always optimism at this time of year, but there's reason for it around Nashville at the moment. So we mentioned it at the top, and we'll get going on the doubleheader against Florida. 5-0 victory in game 1, a 5-3 final in game 2. Eric Haula with 2 goals in the first game. Matthew Wood, a goal and 2 assists in the finale. We'll have more on him and Brady Martin in a bit. But Eric Haula with that new look line of Jonathan Marchessault and Michael Bunting, they've been sticking together. And Kara, they're a lot of fun to watch in these first few games here.
They are. I feel like the trio are all the same person in one line. They're pests. They're like pests. They're pesty players. They all have a little bit of tenacity. They all chirp a little bit. I feel like they almost need a fourth person out there just regulating the line. Willie Donick said maybe like a therapist out there, like, hey guys, let's keep it under control because they're all going to draw penalties. They're all going to get up in your face. And I kind of like that. It's almost, you look at before we used to have like that third line, you'd roll them out there. Those guys were chirping, they're big bodies. But that's the line that has stood out to me so far this season. So I don't know, Brooks, maybe you want to take over, be the therapist on the ice and work these guys through all the things they're dealing with right now.
Well, Kara, it's funny you say pests because Michael Bunting said that after Tuesday night's game, said, what do you think of playing with these two? He's like, we're all kind of pests. We're all doing the same thing out there. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun to watch those three. And that's a line that Andrew Burnett has been very complimentary of over the last little bit. So they have stuck together through 2 games that they've played in the preseason. We'll see if that continues. And we mentioned Matthew Wood, and we'll get to Brady Martin more in just a moment because he had a heck of a showing in Tuesday night's game. But Matthew Wood, I really liked what he had to say about his confidence. He's a guy that played at the end of last season, the final 6 games of the regular season, had a really good summer, came back into rookie camp, got into the prospect tournament in Tampa, and all of a sudden he's got 5 points through 2 preseason games. Here's what Wood had to say on his confidence and how that's grown after the game on Sunday that he played in.
Yeah, it was good. It was lots of fun. I was, really fortunate to be able to play with, great players and be put in a position to succeed by, the organization tonight. And, I'm happy with my effort and, happy with, the team win.
Can you take us through the sequence that led to that Stamkos goal? Looked like you got a really good kind of move on that defenseman there.
Yeah, I think, Phil made a great play to me, and I had some speed going to the net, so I just, kind of instincts, practice, work on all that stuff throughout the summer and throughout the years, and, Sammer had a great finish.
You think you feel a little bit more confident here at this point that kind of led to a play like that, being able to see that happen?
Yeah, I definitely have a lot more confidence than I had, at the end of last season, kind of getting my feet wet, and that's kind of, been a pattern of my career, and, getting a little confidence is really big for me, and, the mental side of the game is something that I've really worked on, and, I'm going to try to continue to work on it.
What was the biggest challenge with the mental side of the game coming into the NHL?
I mean, besides all the, everything's faster, everything's, harder to do, I think, you have to believe in yourself. Like, at the end of the day, it's a business, and, the team has to do what they have to do to win, and if you don't believe in yourself, then you can't expect anyone else to. So just, having confidence to believe in yourself, even if you're the last guy in the room that believes in you. And, I mean, yeah, it's a hard thing to do, and it's hard for, young guys coming up to learn. And I've dealt with, lots of different, mental blocks in my game, and I'm still trying to work on them. And that's part of the, journey of playing, and it's lots of fun.
So some really good stuff there from Matthew Wood, and the mental side of things. That's such an important part of the game, but especially for a 20-year-old kid, you talk about feeling good about yourself. You can see it on the ice right now, Max.
Yeah, the way he's upped every single part of his game from that cup of coffee in the league at the end of last season, he's playing better. He's shooting more. He's creating more. And he's so much more confident speaking, as we just heard in that clip. The way that he has broken through from last guy to make his debut on the team last year to, hey, this guy's a real part of the team. And he's still only 20 years old. He's made plays at an NHL level. He's taken pucks away. He's set guys up. He's been at the net front. And he's done a little bit of everything. He was on the power play in that first game against the Panthers when he had 3 points. And I think, Brooks, that it's been more than you could ever possibly envision early on in camp from Wood, who's pushing to make the team out of camp the way he's played so far.
He really is, and I tell you what, Brady Martin is as well. And Kara, we've seen him in a couple of games already. Brady Martin all of a sudden had 2 goals in Tuesday's shootout loss to Tampa Bay. But what a showing so far from these two. I think you were hoping for a lot, and Kara, we have seen a lot from both of them so far.
Yeah, starting in that middle frame. I mean, he came out, he had 2 goals in 5 minutes, the second one coming on a power play. But one of the things I saw was he was getting to the front of the net, and that's exactly what you want to see from a player drafted that high. I mean, he had some tenacity, right? He was battling out there, and obviously we saw the assist from Wood, that beautiful play that the two of them were able to set up. So I feel like this has been a big moment for Brady Martin, and it's a question: is he going to be here on opening night and with his rookie status? Yeah, he has the possibility to stick around. I think as a rookie, he can come in. They could keep him up for 9 games, so maybe they don't throw him into the mix right away to start the season, because obviously you don't want to have a player that you set up for failure. But if he could be around the club, he's a great person to keep around, especially if he's going to come out and be a center in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, he showed the tools in that 2-goal performance, and he had a couple moments, one in the first period, which would have been his first goal, and then one after he got the 2. A natural hat trick was pretty reasonable for Brady Martin in that game, and the 2 goals he scored were both great. Matt Wood did the work on the first one, knocked Oliver Bjorkstrand down, took the puck away near the crease, knew exactly where Martin would be, and Martin put himself exactly where a scoring center should be on that play. Right in the slot for his guy for a forecheck to take away to one-timer goal immediately. Great shot, placed high glove over Brandon Halverson for his first goal. Then the second one, the power play. Second unit, Matt Wood to Michael Bunting to Brady Martin, tic-tac-toe. Just 2 really beautiful goals. And Martin, after the game, Brooks, you were down there when he was being interviewed, said, this is the biggest crowd I've ever played in front of. And it's so cool to see him realize that dream and cash in on the big stage as he continues to show all the reasons why the Predators took him 5th in the draft.
Well, yeah, you talk about the 2 goals, unofficially your first 2 goals, but it doesn't matter if you score a couple of goals in the driveway. Like, you're still going to feel good about it, right? Like, so that for Brady Martin to be able to put the puck in the net a couple of times, It's great for his confidence. It's great for his showing, just making the most of the opportunities that he's getting. And you talk about just the hockey smarts and the wherewithal to be in the right place at the right time. That's something that Barry Trotz has emphasized. We talked about it on the last episode, and in talking with Trotzy in recent days as well, again, continues to be so impressed with the fact that Brady Martin's only 18 years old, and he not only sees the play, but he makes the right play. He makes the right decision. Offensive zone, defensive zone. He's also not afraid of anybody on the ice. We've seen him go into the corners, go to the net, mix it up with some guys. And he's also not intimidated playing with Philip Forsberg. That's the other piece of that line with Brady Martin and Matthew Wood. I don't know about you. If I was 18 years old and I was playing, it's so hard to imagine because I was nowhere ever near this level. But if I was 18 years old playing with a guy like Philip Forsberg, I think you might be shaking a little bit in your boots. No, like you don't just see any of that with Brady Martin. And I think that's been so impressive.
Well, that's one thing Bruno said. You talk about Forsberg. He said, I think Phil's having fun skating with the young guys. We talked about this, like you just mentioned, Brooks, on the last podcast. But there's a fresh air surrounding the team right now. The guys seem like they're out there, they're playing fun. And it was a big deal to have a lot of our veterans play in that Tampa Bay game. I mean, you looked at who the Lightning brought in to play. A lot of their players had 0 games played in the National Hockey League, but yet the Preds had the vets out there because they want to get things started even in these preseason games. So I feel like it's a good opportunity for everybody to come out and try and showcase their abilities before things really get rolling.
100%. There's no time like the present to start building chemistry on the forward lines, on the defensive pairs. And as we really pump the tires of Matthew Wood and Brady Martin, and rightfully so, I think it's important to mention, hey, it is still preseason. There's still a lot of work to be done. However, they are going to make some decisions really tough on the Predators coaching staff and management. Andrew Brunette said as much on Tuesday after the game. Hey, what about Brady Martin scoring 2 goals? How's he looking? Brunette said he's going to make some tough decisions on us, and that's exactly what you want, Max, from your younger guys. You want them to push, and not only Martin and Wood, but again, we've talked about guys like Joachim Kemmel and Reed Schaefer and Cole O'Hara, and Tanner Molendyke is back in the mix now. You want your young guys to push for those spots, and the future looks bright. There's reason for optimism, especially because of what we've seen over the last week.
Yeah, and the spots they've left open line up well with the guys who they knew were going to make the push, and the guys who they thought were going to make the pushes are the guys who have made the pushes. So spots are open for one of these guys, 2 of these guys, maybe even 3 of these guys, depending what the opening night lineup and everybody's health and status looks like. So the room is there for all these guys who have never made the opening night roster before, and none of them have played double-digit NHL games. The opportunity is there for these guys to either make their NHL debuts or make that first opening night roster, or both.
Well, Max, you talk about the health and status of folks, and it's not all sunshine and butterflies, unfortunately. As we record this on Wednesday, September 24th, we heard today that defenseman Nick Hague, who left Sunday's game in the doubleheader against Florida and did not return, is going to miss 4 to 6 weeks with an upper body injury. Not ideal. One of your big offseason acquisitions, playing on the top pair with Roman Josi and Kara. All of a sudden, you've got to find someone to replace that spot for Hague, at least for now. But the Predators certainly have options.
They do. We've seen Willsby being paired up with Yos, and Bruno has said more than one time that he's been the best player on the ice right now. So this is a big opportunity for him. I mean, what stands out to you about having Josi paired with Willsby at this point?
Well, Willsby's so good. He's so fast. He's just flying around out there. Like, I asked Barry Trotz the other day, what do you think of Willsby? And he's like, he's so good. He's really good. Like, we knew that last season. We saw spurts of that last season when he was able to come in as a rookie, get some games. Unfortunately, was injured for the rest of the way there. But boy, does Adam Willsby look even better than he was last season. And there's a lot of excitement for the way that he's played here in the early going. So yeah, it's a good problem to have. Boy, Nick Hague goes down. Let's just slide Adam Willsby right up there with Roman Josi. The pairing of Brady Shea and Nick Perbix continues to look good together. And then you've got options on that third defense pair, Max. There's a lot of guys here who played solid minutes for the Predators last season. You think of 3, 4, 5 guys right off the top of your head that could easily be on that third pair.
Yeah, you really feel for Nick Hague knowing he's not going to be able to make the opening night roster now and miss most or not all of October with an injury, but should be back by early November, which feels like a long way away, but still the early point of the season. I guess you're glad to have him back at that point. But yeah, it opens up spots for guys to make the team on D, guys who would have to go through waivers to get to Milwaukee, some combination of Spencer Stastny or Nick Blankenberg, then Andreas Englund, Jordan Osterley. And now Tanner Molendyk is back in camp and back, hopefully getting close to full health and ready to compete for a roster spot. So it's opened up a spot on the top pair that Adam Wilsby looks like he'll have the first shot at. But if he's healthy, I wouldn't be too surprised to see Tanner Molendyk play with Josi some too along the way in practice or preseason. And then Spencer Stastny is going to have that first shot based on what we saw in the preseason game on Tuesday night to lock down that new third pair spot next to Justin Barron.
As Andrew Brunette said after Tuesday's game, these final 2 weeks of training camp should be fun and interesting in regard to the lineup decisions. There are certainly plenty to make as we continue along here. We do know a few guys, though, who will no longer be here, and that's not a surprise in regard to a move that was made on Monday. But assigning forwards Hiroki Goisik and Victor Noringer, defenseman Alex Wong and goaltender Jacob Milota back to their respective junior clubs, and then the Predators releasing forwards Alex Kostov and defenseman Hayden Barch from their amateur tryout agreement. So the first roster moves there from Nashville, and certainly more to come as we move along in training camp. But we mentioned Roman Josi, and perhaps we'll have to ask him about this. But coming up, Max, we're going to have a conversation with someone that Smashville knows well.
Yeah, nowhere better to have our first guest of the year than the captain, who we're so glad is back healthy. We're going to talk to him about the time he missed last year, his diagnosis with POTS, and in detail about all the things that he had to change about not only his hockey routine, but his lifestyle and healthcare routine to adjust to a diagnosis that he hopes will fully take care of something that had bothered him long before he missed time last season.
Absolutely. So coming up next, we will chat with the captain, number 59, Roman Josi. You were listening to the Predators official podcast on ESPN 102.5 The Game and YouTube.
Welcome back to the Predators official podcast, our second episode of the season here on Preds YouTube and your favorite podcast platform. And time now for our first interview of the season. Max Herz and Brooks Bratten joined now by the captain, Preds defenseman Roman Josi. Roman, thanks for being our first guest of the season. So great to have you, and so great to have you back on the ice.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Good to be on.
Our fans hadn't seen you for a long time, and it's been so great having you back in training camp and preseason. What has it been like for you personally just to be back on the ice and doing your thing the way you should be here these last few weeks?
It's been good. It's been a lot of fun. Just getting back with the guys. Obviously, we've been skating for quite a bit here, even before camp. But yeah, it was a long time since I played my last game. So it was nice to get back out there and play some games, and then just training camp. It's just the intensity of training camp. Being back at it is really exciting. I think it doesn't really matter if it's year 1 or year 14 or 15, and it's always exciting. You always get those butterflies before camp.
Jos, we'll get more on camp and what you've dealt with to get back in just a minute, but I want to ask before we get too far ahead, we're not too far removed from the summer. How was it for you? Any travel, anything fun happened in the summertime for you?
It was good, yeah. I went back to Switzerland for like 2 months, which was nice, spending a lot of time there, seeing some family and friends for a decent time. And me and my wife went to Italy for a couple of days, which was really nice. That was a fun trip. But other than that, yeah, we kind of spend a lot of time in Switzerland, seeing my family, seeing friends, and obviously the kids love it over there, which is really cool. And yeah, it was really fun.
What's it like being a dad for you in the summer, getting that time with the kids and being able to share both sides of the world with them?
Yeah, it's fun. they're kind of old enough now to understand that Switzerland is our second home too, and that's kind of where we go in the summers, and they're always excited to go there. Obviously, they get spoiled over there, seeing all my family and my family who doesn't see them as much. So yeah, it's nice for me. You know, you get to be at home a lot. You get to spend a lot of time with the kids and kind of do things that you maybe not always able to do during the season. So I definitely enjoyed that.
Okay, so you touched on it on the top. Obviously, we're back here in training camp. What has it been like being back on the ice for you? How are you feeling as we're over a weekend now? We got some preseason games under the belt. What is kind of your assessment now that we're a little ways into camp here?
Good. Yeah, I'm feeling good. I think you know, it's been a hard camp, like it always is. I think the first week and a half is there's a lot of pace in practice. Practices are hard. You're playing some games, and I think it's an adjustment for everyone, and it happens every year. You kind of got to get back up to speed and get back to that playing games and everything. And yeah, it's been really good. I think we're all feeling good. We're all a little tired, which is rightfully so. But that's how it should be, right? And but yeah, it's been a really good camp.
Over the summer, the team and you announced your diagnosis with POTS, and we heard from you last week in your first press conference of the season about the timeline of these are issues that had been bothering you for a while, fatigue, dizziness, things like that, and the injury last year was a reason for you to get them checked out and taken care of. What was the timeline with what you were experiencing, and how have you managed it now that you know what the issue at hand is?
Yeah, it's been bothering me for a little bit, and I think you kind of, you know, I think as a player you kind of self-diagnosing a little bit, and you're kind of trying to battle through things a little bit, and yeah, you don't necessarily know what's going on, and obviously as a player you play so many games, and you kind of think, you know, well, everybody's tired, everybody's is fighting through something, and it's just kind of, you know, got to a point last year where it's gotten worse and worse, and yeah, and then that happened against Florida, and that was kind of the point where I was like, I need to figure out what's going on and figure this whole thing out, and that's when I got the diagnosis, which was, you know, was a big relief for me, to be honest, just to know what's going on, and just having a plan going forward, being able to treat it, and did some, you know, a big recovery program right after, and just kind of, you know, tried to change some things this summer. There's a lot of little things that I'm doing a little bit different, and yeah, it's been good. I'm feeling good, and like I said, just knowing what's going on and knowing how to manage it was huge for me.
Roman, with those changes in your lifestyle, it's not as if you know, weren't already taking care of yourself. Obviously, you're a professional athlete and you've got your routine and you know what to do in that regard. Was it, I don't know if easy is the right word, but was it maybe enjoyable or kind of eye-opening to make some of those lifestyle changes and say, this is maybe the new normal and what I'm having to deal with now?
Yeah, it wasn't too hard. I mean, like you said, I think, you know, I was living pretty healthy before that too, and I think that's one of the ways you can manage it, right? And I think I was not knowing, probably managing it a little bit too, and yeah, the changes I made they're not drastic changes. There's some little things like I said, on diet and little stuff like that, and yeah, it wasn't too hard, because yeah, like I said, I was trying to obviously live pretty healthy before, and maybe just a little more detailed now, and just a couple little things that I changed.
Preds captain Roman Josi is our guest here on the POP. We've also seen you this week, Roman, wearing the Q collar for injury prevention, which I've seen a lot of NFL players wear before on the back of their necks. I don't know if I've seen an NHL player wear it before. Can you tell us about that? And do you know if you're the only person in the NHL who has one of those?
Yeah, I might be right now. Yeah, I started wearing, so we got some, our trainers got some this year, and I think they had a meeting with them as well, and they were talking to me about it, and they were like, hey, this would be great for you. So I kind of looked into it, talked to some doctors about just, you know, the Q collar, the science behind it, and you know, they were like pretty, like, they felt really good about it, and they said the science behind it is legit. it's really good for brain health, and especially when you have those little impacts. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to try it out, and try it out in practice, and it feels pretty good. You notice it in a little bit in the beginning, but you kind of get used to it pretty quick. So just talking to doctors and hearing about the science, how good the science behind it is, made me want to try it.
Roman, we know obviously your family is incredibly important to you, your wife Allie and your son and your daughter. How do they help you through a time like this, and just dealing what you've had to deal with this summer, and what kind of impact have they had on you through this process?
They were great. I mean, honestly, my kids didn't change anything. they didn't care really. But no, I mean, Allie's been awesome. She's been supporting me, like, I mean, for the past 10 years or more, and just I think as a player, you have a pretty stressful life sometimes, especially during the season, and she's always there. She's kind of my rock at home, and taking care of everything, and just being there. So it was the same thing with this. She's been really supportive, and just helping me do whatever I need to do to feel my best, and definitely really grateful for that. And like I said, the kids just want to play. They want to run around. They want to play with me, which is great. So I'm glad it's that way. But it was a lot of fun this summer.
Well, put everybody in that group of happy to have Roman Josi back at 100% and leading the Preds this year. It's about 2 weeks into camp now. It's been an intense camp, as you've said. We've seen you in 2 preseason games as well. What do you think about the atmosphere, the environment, the way the team has approached camp after a disappointing season last year?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of focus, and I think guys came ready to play and get into camp. And I think you can tell a lot of guys as a team, you have a chip on their shoulder. A lot of guys have a chip on their shoulder. A lot of guys want to have a bounce back year here, and I think you can tell. A lot of guys are focused. Guys are working hard in camp, and like I said before, it's been a really good camp. It's been intense, and that's the way it should be. And I'm excited. I'm excited for the start of the season. But like I said, the guys are definitely focused.
So on day one, it was Nick Hague that you were with in training camp. Unfortunately, we know that he'll be out 4 to 6 weeks, though, with an upper body injury. It seems like it's kind of a good problem to have, though. There's a lot of options that can slide up with you. We've seen Adam Wilsby there. What have you thought about just kind of the dynamic on the back end? I know you're looking forward to playing with Nick Hague in some regular season games at some point, but Adam Wilsby doesn't seem like a bad second option there. How do you kind of view the dynamic on the back end right now?
Yeah, it seems like there's, like you said, there's so many options. We have. I feel like we're very deep on the back end. There's a lot of guys, who can play anywhere, and obviously, too bad with Hex what happened. I was really looking forward to playing with him, and we were saying it was a lot of fun playing together for one period, and then unfortunately that happened. But hopefully he'll be back soon, and you can tell how good of a player he is. He's a great guy. He fits right into our team, and we're definitely looking forward to having him back. But Willie's a great player. He showed it last year. Unfortunately, he got hurt last year, but when he played, he was unbelievable. Such a great skater. So I enjoy playing with him as well. And like you said, there's a lot of different options.
We can look ahead to this season, but we're going to pick a point right in the middle, which is NHL players returning to the Olympics. You were on the sidelines for the Four Nations because you're not from one of the Four Nations. So you had to watch that one and watch the intensity. How much are you just licking your chops, ready to go for Team Switzerland in Italy this year in February?
Yeah, it's exciting. I think, all the players, we've been really looking forward to playing in Olympics again. That's kind of one thing I think we fought for a long time now to get back there. And I've played in Olympics in Sochi, which was a really cool experience. And I think just for Switzerland, the team we have now, I think we I don't know if we ever went to Olympics with that many players that play in the NHL and have a big role in the NHL. So it's definitely exciting for Swiss hockey. I think just coming in with the momentum of 2 silver medals and at the Worlds, and just having that confidence as a team is pretty cool. So everyone in Switzerland, and I think not just Switzerland, everybody in the NHL is looking forward to go play in the Olympics.
And we don't know for sure yet. We expect you to be the captain of that team, and this is your 9th year as the captain as the Preds. It's unbelievable how time flies. You were already the longest tenured captain in Preds history. You're now one of the longest tenured captains in the NHL. What is that like for you to just think about and look back on where you started as a leader of this team at the peak of the franchise and lead them now into this new era with so many exciting young guys joining the guys that you've come up with Phil and Juice?
Yeah, I mean that's crazy hearing you say that. 9 years. I mean, I remember the day I was named captain. It does feel like yesterday, and even just coming into the league feels like yesterday. Time really does fly, and it's obviously 9 years. A lot of things happen. I think I grew a lot as a person, as a player, and I think the team obviously changed a lot. So it's been such an honor being able to be the captain of this team for that long. And, like I said, every year I think I try to learn things. I try to get better and do a better job every year. And, I definitely learned a lot in those 9 years, but it's been a blast, and it's been a huge honor.
Roman, we'll end on this, and I asked Phil a similar question on day one of camp. And not to make you feel old again, but you've been here longer than any player on the roster. It's been almost 20 years since you were drafted in 2008. What is your sense of pride now playing for this team and this city, and how has that grown over time here?
It's definitely grown a lot, I feel like we have a special bond here with the fans, in Nashville. And I think for me personally, being here for so long, it's really grown so much. And this has become a home for me. There's obviously the hockey part, which is huge, but I started my family here, so the community of Nashville, people couldn't be nicer than they are in Nashville. And just right away when he came, and then it just starts growing and growing. And like I said, this is such a wonderful place to raise a family and be able to play hockey here. I mean, like I said, the fans are amazing. I feel like we have this special bond with the fans as an organization and the community. And it's definitely a special city with a special organization. And like I said, it's a huge honor, and I'm really proud that I was able, been here for so long, and hopefully stay for a lot longer. So it's been so much fun, and I think that's why it flew by so quick.
We're ready to see you back out there on opening night, Roman. Thanks so much for joining us.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Back after this on the Predators official podcast.
Well, I told you that was going to be the best video you've seen all week. That was Ryan O'Reilly's impression of Jonathan Marchessault, probably chirping somebody on the ice, one of the linesmen. Welcome back
he nailed
to
it.
the Predators official podcast. Brooks, we know you're all about the referees. You love to talk to them. You know everything about them. Have you ever asked them about Marchie chirping them on the ice?
No, but you can see it from up where we sit and down where you are, Kara. You know what happens. No, it's always fun to see those interactions. And yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I watched that 5, 10, 15 times. I couldn't get enough of it. It was so great. But then on the contrary, right before that in the video, it's Jonathan Marchessault giving Roman Josi a hug. So wholesome.
The two sides of the Jonathan Marchessault experience personified. Great job by Preds social media making that beautiful piece of film happen. Tori Bookwalter was the one who pulled it off from the Preds social media team. And she said that actually after Ryan O'Reilly filmed the video, he returned to her and said, "Can I watch it to make sure I did it justice?" So Mr. Factor takes a lot of pride in his work, and he nailed it on take one. Jonathan Marchessault, just French-Canadian noises, as the caption said.
Well, nobody takes more pride in their work than two legends here in Smashville, Pete Weber and Terry Crisp, both nominated into the Preds Golden Hall. Brooks, you had a chance to speak with them. Take us through the induction that happened last week at Gladiators.
Well, what a perfect way to pull it off. So it was the shtick was that they were gonna record some liners for Pete and Terry's, which of course we know at the Sobro entrance of Bridgestone Arena, the lovely watering hole, pregame, postgame spot. Love to be there with the guys. It's always kind of fun too if one or both of them are there and their faces are literally on the wall. I don't know. It's always kind of surreal. But yeah, the jig was that Bob Cole, who we all know and love, Preds senior director of broadcasting, is posing to Pete and Terry, hey, we're going to record these liners about your bar. They're going to be fun. They're going to be for social media. So they're doing that. Little do they know that Pecorine is behind the wall with his Preds Golden Hall jacket on, comes out, surprises the two of them, and says, hey, do you guys like my jacket? And of course, then says, well, you're about to get your own. And no more two fitting folks than Pete and Terry to be included in this group. And of course, they're very honored, and we'll look forward to talking to them more as we get closer to the induction on November 1st, by the way, as the Preds host the Calgary Flames. But what a tremendous honor. And this is a moment where I often will tell people, I wish that I had grown up in Nashville and had been around the franchise since the beginning to really appreciate a lot of what things were like in the early days. And if you talk to anyone who has been here since day one, like Pete and Terry have, boy, Max, you know as well as anybody that they helped make hockey what it is in Nashville. They were kind of the first introduction to the game that people could relate to and meet with and talk to. They taught a lot of Nashville about the game of hockey, and you see what it's become today. I don't know that happens without Pete and Terry.
Well, last year, the Golden Hall opens with the inaugural class of the three most important hockey people who assembled the teams and played for the teams in Preds history, with Shea Weber, Pecorine, and David Poile going in. And now we lead off this year's class with the two most important off-the-ice people who taught the game of hockey to Nashville, to Smashville, to Tennessee, to the South. So Pete and Terry going in together is oh so perfect. And yeah, Pekka nailed the surprise. It was well done.
No, 100% he did. And Max, what I'm curious, Max and Kara, for both of you as broadcasters, to be around Pete and Terry, a couple of legends. And the word legend gets thrown around a little too much these days, but I think it's totally fair when you're talking about these guys. Kara, start with you. What has it been like to just work with them and be around them, learn from them, and to see their passion for what they do?
I think if I talked about Crispy too much, my cheeks hurt, because that's what I think about sitting in the morning meetings with him as we're putting together our broadcast show for the upcoming game that night. I mean, we would cackle. He would always come. He'd always have jokes. Sometimes he would write little jokes or little notes and slide them across the table. And guys, I would read the note and I would look, and it would literally be from a hotel. And I'd be like, where did this come from? Oh, it was like where the team was playing on the road trip. He would hear a joke and Crispy would want to remember it. So he would write it down on a hotel notepad, stick it in his pocket, and then bring it into the morning meetings and slide it across the table. So that's kind of who he is off the ice. Also, just, you see him around the building. If you're listening to this right now, and if you have had Crispy hold your child and take a photo, tweet those at us, because we know infinite fans in the years that he has been in Smashville have had kids take pictures with Crispy, I myself included, but just learning the game from him. I mean, he's so knowledgeable, and we'll have to chirp him a little bit because we know it's probably a good thing social media wasn't around when Crispy was on the bench back in his days.
Oh my God. Yeah, two absolute legends and forever a dynamic duo. Pete's been one of my amazing mentors and so supportive of my career, as him and I have split the play-by-play duties here on Preds Radio. And being able to be with him 2 years ago when he was going through a pretty serious health scare when he ended up having brain surgery was just honored that he allowed me to fill in for him during that time, and the support I've received from Pete and Terry and both of their wives, Claudia Weber and Sheila Crisp, and both of their extended families. And Crispy's son, Tony, has been in the house this week and sitting next to Crispy in the press box. And I've been sitting next to both of them. And it's like sitting next to two Crispies watching the hockey game, which is an unbelievable experience. So just two absolute hockey lifers who we are so beyond blessed to have had in Smashville at all, let alone in Smashville for good. And they are as good as gold. So it's incredible that they're going in, and incredible that we're all going to be there for it on Saturday, November 1st against, as Crispy would say, the Calgary Flames.
Calgary for Crispy. It's perfect. And we will look forward to honoring them then. And again, we'll have to get them on because we know they can talk. And what better place to talk than a podcast? So,
do you think they have time for us, Brooks? I don't know. They might be hard to book.
I don't know. They're kind of busy these days. Surely our people can get a hold of their people and we'll figure something out. But yes, congratulations to those two gentlemen, and we can't wait to talk to them more about it. Coming up next, we'll be back to wrap things up on this episode. Our Big E Awesome Person of the Week. You won't want to miss that. You are listening and watching the Preds Official Podcast.
Welcome back to the Predators Official Podcast. Final segment of our second episode here in week 2 of Preds training camp. Thanks to Roman Josi for joining us. What an awesome episode it's been. And time for our second weekly, or every episode, edition of our big award here on the POP, the Big E, in memory of Erin Donick, our friend, our favorite, Willie Donick's wife, who passed away from lung cancer this summer, and would ask everybody in the world, even if it was someone she saw every day or someone she had never met and would never see again, why are you so awesome? You rock. So this week's winner of the Big E is Preds defenseman Spencer Stastny. Let's listen to Tuesday night's preseason interview on Preds Radio. End of one preseason period here at Bridgestone Arena. Predators nothing, Tampa Bay Lightning nothing here in Music City. My name is Max Hers. Preds outshot the Lightning 8-7 in the first period. 6 of those 7 Tampa shots came on a pair of Lightning power plays. UC Saros had 6 power play saves in that first period. Joined now by Preds defenseman Spencer Stastny, playing well tonight, fighting to make the team here. Spencer, how do you feel like camp and preseason have gone for you so far?
Yeah, I think it's going well. I think there's a lot of competition this year, and that's good for everyone involved. But yeah, I think we're in for a good game tonight. And for me personally, I think I'm just going to try to keep going and move my feet.
What are your goals for camp as a whole, outside of course, making the roster?
Yeah, that would be nice. But no, just enjoying it, just making the most of it, and just competing hard.
You got so much love from the hockey world this summer as you opened up. What does it mean for you to be in camp after you weren't here at this time last year and just be back doing your thing in Nashville?
Yeah, it's been incredible seeing the support from the guys in the locker room, guys with management and coaches, but also like fans and people all around the world and this country mostly that would reach out and really went there to went out of their way to support me. So it's been incredible, and I'm just happy to be back.
Amazing. Well, add us to the list of people who are happy you're here. Thanks, Spencer.
Thank you.
Well, Max, we had to pick Spencer Stastny as our Big E. Why are you so awesome, Spencer Stastny? As we all know, and you guys just touched on it in the interview, he was not around this time last season when training camp was underway to start the season. He obviously was dealing with some personal issues, but then I think it's awesome that now he is open about them. He's talking about them. And so kudos to Spencer Stastny for using your platform to help others who may be struggling with the same sort of things that he's been dealing with.
So, Spencer Stastny, you rock. You are the second winner of the Big E here on the POP. And if you haven't listened to it, go back this summer. The episode, I believe, was in early August on the 32 Thoughts podcast with Elliot Friedman and Kyle Bukowskis hosting, talking to Spencer Stastny about his battles with depression and anxiety and how he literally had turned in and signed his NHL retirement papers, but he's decided to come back, and he is back in camp. He's here on time after not reporting to camp and having no desire to do so last year, and now he is fighting for a roster spot to make the opening night roster for the Preds.
And I asked Andrew Brunette a few days ago, how nice is it to see Spencer Stastny not only back, but playing at the level that he is? And Bruno, and it's very true, but Bruno said it's always nice to see Spencer smile because he's got a great smile, and he's been doing that a lot at camp already. So well said for both of you. Just great to see Stas back in camp, and look to see if he makes the opening night roster. As we talked about, there's some opportunities there. So we'll see if he is indeed one of those guys who is on the ice October 9th against Columbus in Smashville. So we mentioned it in our first episode, and we want to bring it back. Of course, hashtag Preds podcast. It's something that we used in the olden days when it was myself and Thomas Willis on the call. Now the three of us, we want to get you back involved in the show again. So use hashtag Preds podcast on X, or you can comment on the episodes on YouTube. Use the comment section, drop your thoughts, your questions, and we can get to some different things in the episodes. And also, as Kara mentioned earlier, use hashtag Preds podcast if you've got photos of your children with Terry Crisp. We'd love to see those. And maybe because we're on video now, I don't know, maybe we can flash a few of those up on the screen if you're willing to share. So anything and everything, hashtag Preds podcast. We would love to see or hear from you.
And it doesn't just have to be crispy. I mean, if you've taken a family photo with Pete and Terry, we know that they were more famous than the players back in the day. So if you have a family photo with Pete and Terry, post it. Send us our way. We'll put it up. I'm Kara Hammer. Thanks so much for joining us, and I'll let Max take us out.
Thanks, Kara. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. I am at MaxHersTalks. Brooksy.
I'm Brooks Bratten. You can follow me at Brooks Bratten on X and Brooks Bites on Instagram. I'll be posting.
You don't have to. You don't have to follow Brooks Bites.
One of these days, Max is going to follow.
Not required to. No,
behind the scenes
you don't.
content.
No, I don't have to, and you don't have to either. But Brooks has great information on his normal account. But no
normal
food.
Account, yeah. But I'm private, so
allowed.
I won't allow you there. But on Twitter, go right ahead.
And on that note, thanks for listening to episode 2 of the POP 2025-2026 season. We'll be back this week as the Preds make their cuts. AHL camp begins. And by the time we talk to you next, there will be just one preseason game to go. Thanks for listening to the Predators official podcast.